I just love that introduction that my team has put together. Isn't it awesome?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Well, hello, everybody. Let's talk probate. Probate property sales and how they work, at least in the state of California. Hi, my name is Roxanne Govari with Pamberley Realty, along with my partner, Santiago Garin.
Hello, everyone. Probates are a very interesting topic. I don't think we've talked about it before, so this is going to be a pretty good one and interesting topic to talk about.
We have not talked about probate sales before. So, do you want to give your take um, as far as what probate sales are and how
Yeah,
you
I
go about
mean,
them?
I think a lot of people, once they hear the word probate, they kind of don't want to, they just know it's a difficult process that that they have to deal with court, yada yada, and they kind of just leave it off as that. They just know it's a hard process and that it's gonna be a difficult, long either sale of home or whatever it has to be. So I don't know. You want to kind of give us a little rundown how the probate sale goes of a home?
You know, let's back up and talk about probate and how you can avoid probate,
Yeah.
right?
Uh huh.
Uh, interesting thing about probate that I actually one of my colleagues was talking about, and I even thought about it, and I thought she was absolutely right, and that's the fact that everybody dies. There is, as they make a joke and say, there is two things in life that are certain, and that's death and taxes. And so if that is the case, and if those two things are certain things in life, then probate is kind of attached to that. If death is inevitable, so is probate, right?
Yeah.
Because probate basically means when someone dies and they have not put a plan in place for what happens to their assets after their death, and that is essentially probate. And when we're talking about probate, probate does not mean just property. Anything could go into probate. Bank accounts could go into probates. Cars could go into probate. Of course, in most cases, the thing of value that matters the most is either property or money, bank account, a stock account, or things of value of that sort. Uh, and cars could fall into that category as well, but cars simply don't have as much value as these other assets that we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Mhm.
And the and of course, if you don't want to have any plans and then you want to just go the route of probate, that's perfectly fine. The issue with that is that you end up paying a lot more money to have your assets go through probate than if you actually think about it and put a plan in place to protect your assets.
Yeah.
The other thing is that when when you don't put a plan in place, you don't show your love the way that you uh, intend to show your love during during the time that you're alive. And by that I mean that I've come across so many different families that they said, oh, I've grandkids that they live with grandparents, and the grandparents raise the children, raise the grandkids, and somehow for whatever reason the parent in between is skipped, or there's no relationship or whatever, and then the grandparent dies and there's no succession plan in place, so the grandkid who was intended to receive the inheritance or the money gets cut off because by law, everything will get passed on to the child, not the grandchild. And this is one example. There's so many different examples of I had over the years, I've had partners. They've been partners for, I had one case where they were living together for 30 years and without a plan in place. And then one partner died and the other partner basically got nothing. And the heirs from the other side pretty much just, booted the other partner out of the house, and that was that. So these are the reasons why, if there is love and if there's care, then you want to have a succession plan in place to take care of your loved one. And
is it just as simple as having a trust, or do you need a will? How exactly can you go on about for, having that plan set up?
so at least in California, having just a will is not enough to prevent probate.
Okay.
What happens is it will at least make it a little bit more simple, because in your will you may call as to who you want your beneficiaries to be,
Hmm.
but that does not mean that you can avoid probate. And so, for example, if you set up a will and say, I want my house to go to my child, I want my car to go to my, girlfriend, I want my bank accounts to go to charity, something like that. If you have it set up like that, then that's fine and dandy. And if you go ahead and you call up somebody in your will that, okay, I want this person to be taking care of all that, then you make things a little bit more simple, because you still have to go through probate,
Yeah.
and you have to basically, and the court would have to set up an administrator to basically
Yeah.
manage everything, but you still have to go through probate. The only way that you can actually avoid going through probate is to set a trust, like you said,
Yeah.
and then put everything into the trust. And when I'm saying everything, I mean everything, right? Right? Like you'd have to put your properties into the trust. You'd have to put your bank accounts into the trust. You'd have to put your cars into the trust. Everything needs to be named into the trust, to avoid basically going through probate. Um, and the reason why you do want to avoid probate is because if you set up a trust, you're in control even after your death. You're in control. You set up a succession plan, you set up who's going to be taking care of it, and everything is nice and simple and planned. If you don't set that up, then the government would have to make that determination.
Yeah.
And of course, the government has to get paid for that,
Yeah.
right? Because they're doing some service that
It's not
you
cheap.
fail to set up for yourself. So
Yeah.
they're going to provide that service, and they're going to pay. They're going to make sure they get paid for it.
Yeah.
And then and then so that makes it a lot more expensive than if you had done it prior by the help of an attorney that you basically hired and had them basically carry out your wishes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And like you said, probate also, like if you have a trust set up, right after the death, you can go ahead and take care of your whatever it is that you want to take care of. You can take care of your affairs immediately. But if
Yeah.
you don't set up a trust, now you have to basically wait for the court to get together and go through all of that. and it may be months and maybe years before they get to deal with your case and review what you have to do. And in the meantime, you're just sitting and waiting, and you don't have access to your assets.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which no one wants to be, at the mercy of, the government.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So.
And once you take on a listing, once you, one of the administrators reaches out to you to, have the home be sold, how does that process work? Can you maybe explain what does the court need to do? Like, I mean, there's like the proposed action, the letter of proposed action that needs to be sent out. Can you kind of go a little bit more in detail on how that works?
So basically, now we're talking about property, right? Because
Yeah.
we're the experts, and let's also talk about the fact that we've been selling primarily properties that are in either in a trust or in probate, because we work closely with a lot of families. And one of the reasons why we're talking about it now is because for whatever reasons, holidays are really hard on people. So holidays either create a lot of anxiety, and as a result of a lot of anxiety, we see a lot of deaths happen during the holidays, or we also see a lot of deaths happen right after the holidays. It's as if the person is saying, okay, well, I said my final goodbyes to my family, and now they're, all my goals in life have been accomplished. So that's it. Now I'm ready to go right after the holidays. So we're getting closer to the holiday season. And that's one of the reasons why we are having this conversation, to basically tell our audience to make sure you set up your estate planning in place, and make sure to avoid probate. And if you unfortunately are not able to set up succession planning in place, and you have to go through probate, then what needs to happen is the court needs to review everything, figure out who is the rightful administrator of the estate. An administrator would be a decision maker, and they may be the beneficiary or may not be the beneficiary. And the difference would be, administrator is somebody who's a decision maker as to what happens to the estate. But the beneficiary is the one that actually gets the money after everything is liquidated.
Yeah.
Right. So that would be a beneficiary. And sometimes both people could be the same, and sometimes they are two different set of people.
Yeah.
And then, so once you go into probate with notice of proposed action, so you put the property on the market, you find a buyer, you get the buyer under contract, and then the attorney has to basically let everybody know. And when I'm saying everybody in the world know, and usually this is done by actual advertising, to announce to everybody out in the world that this place is being sold, and by such and such person who's the administrator. And if you have any claims to the property, you have X amount of days to come and make a claim. It's almost like, how you get married, and the officiant asks and says, what do they say? How do they say it?
They say if there's anyone that like opposes or something in those words, in those lines.
If you are opposed to this marriage, come forward now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing with probate and notice of proposed action. If you have any objection to the sale, come forward now or forever hold your peace. And that forever means if you don't come through that period of the notice that is going out, then after that you can't come back and say, this was my uncle twice removed, and I'm getting a piece of their inheritance
Yeah.
now. So
And what's a good I mean, we've worked with a good amount of probate sales ourselves. Um, what would you consider some of your success stories? What's one that you take pride with?
well, there was a case where you know, I would say 99.9% of probate cases are sad stories, right? For us, they may turn into a success story if we actually do it right. But in either case, it's a sad story.
Yeah.
But it was in it. I remember of a particular case where the child actually had passed away, and the parents had to basically close out the estate. And in this particular case, the child or their child, who was an adult,
Yeah.
had a lot of nice electronic um, toys.
Yeah.
And we were able to put them in touch with a professional that was able to uh, get those items sold. And there were also a couple of cars involved, and we were able to also get the cars sold. And then there was a particular car, because there were several cars that we were dealing with, and there was a particular car that they actually didn't want to sell, but they wanted to be moved to where they lived, which was across country. So we also made arrangements to move the car from here to there. In addition to basically helping them, we helped them declutter. We helped them to do some light renovations. We staged the property, and we did very successful. We ran a very successful marketing campaign, and sold the property in a relatively short amount of time. Got them a great offer, and was able to uh, close everything up, and efficiently, and with both sides being satisfied. The new buyer getting a property that they really wanted, and the seller basically, we were the one-stop shop. And in that grief, they were not able to take care of everything that needed to be taken
Yeah.
care of. So it was our pleasure to be able to arrange everything, and get them off
Yeah.
on their way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we did everything basically from start to finish on that, huh? We
Exactly.
took care of it, from the start of the sale, making sure everything was cleared out. We made their lives easier for sure.
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's why we
Yeah.
call ourselves professionals.
And I remember another instance where there was a couple, there was a unmarried couple
Yeah.
also. And in that case, unfortunately, we had to help the partner move out of state. So we put them in touch with another agent in the other area of the country that they moved into. And we also arranged for moving of the furniture. We arranged for, because in this case, the partner they were together for 40 years without getting married.
Wow.
And so that's a lifetime. That
Yeah.
is a real lifetime. So, and in this case, the remaining partner was elderly.
Yeah.
So we had to actually help them with decluttering and boxing of everything. Find them another realtor at the other end, and also find them a transportation to move them from point A to point B, and that was also, again, when you're dealing with probate, it's usually a sad case, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you are able to make things happen for everybody involved, then that's a
Yeah.
success story.
I agree. I agree.
So
Helps them not have to have their mind on, a million other things that, could be handled.
exactly.
So,
All right. Okay. Well, anything else that you think we can talk about with probate?
well, I think we covered everything. I think we did a pretty good job kind of explaining how to avoid probate,
Hmm.
how it goes, what we've provided for our clients when it comes to probate sales, basically start to finish. So I think we
Yeah.
covered everything.
So then let's also put in a plug. So audience, thank you so much for joining us and for being on our program. And if you have any questions about this, there's my phone number, and I'm happy to answer any other questions that you may have. And there is Santi's phone number
There you
for
go.
you to reach out to him. We also, if you're seeing us on Instagram, or if you would visit us on Instagram, we would appreciate that. And if you can give us a follow, that would be even more fantastic. There's our Instagram handle. And if you see us on Facebook, there is Roxanne Govari on Facebook, is where you can find us. And you can also visit us on our website at pamberleyrealty.com. And if you are seeing us today on YouTube, we would appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up
Yep.
and
Subscribe
subscribe. Why should they subscribe?
so they can see all our upcoming videos. We do this once a week, so we're always new content, new things that come up in the market, our market updates, everything. So
That's right,
we do it.
exactly. So thank you very much for joining us. And remember, we are realtors and we operate out of San Diego, but we can help you find anything anywhere in the world. So give us a shout, and we are very happy to help you get to where you want to go, and make it a great day.
Bye, everyone.